You won't have time to think. You must act automatically. What does a pilot do when the helicopter engine fails in flight? No time to think, just act automatically. When the alert is broadcast, the alarm sounds, or the knock comes on your door, you'll need to be ready to act without thinking of what to do or what you need. You need a 5-day extreme emergency kit. With serious supplies and real food to secure 2 adults for 5 days, this powerful $300 extreme emergency kit is free with an order of at least $995 from eFoods Direct. Go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex or call 800-409-5633. That's efoodsdirect.com/Alex. 800-409-5633.
You may be arrested and or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
It's all over for the unknown soldier.
Yeah, the war's over for the unknown soldier. Isn't that interesting? The war is not over. In fact, that's the big issue here is they have the headlines out today. U.S. government, WikiLeaks, Al-Qaeda preparing to detonate nukes in Europe, in the U.S., 160 nuke bombs buried. On record for decades, they've got satellites and aircraft that can look through hundreds of feet of rock and pick up the resonant signature of highly refined uranium and plutonium. They know exactly where it is. But, oh, Al-Qaeda inside government buildings. You or I couldn't sneak into a government building and, put a teacup in the basement. But magically, they went in and buried nukes. That's right. Al-Qaeda from their caves, they buried 160 nukes. And that's in the news today. And thank goodness the TSA is there. And they're upping security at airports and train stations and may have checkpoints. And they're calling back the nuclear, chemical, biological teams from Japan that were helping because, my gosh, Al-Qaeda is about to hit us any minute. So you better be glad that we're in Afghanistan and Libya and everywhere else. Well, in Libya, it's the good Al-Qaeda, the media says. So you need to be patriotic and support those guys, like John McCain said. I mean, this is how ridiculous it is. And then scripted on a Sunday night so it would dominate. So the newspapers only have an hour or two to take whatever the White House said, no critical thinking. So the alternative media couldn't get ready to respond to it, but we never sleep, so we were on it. Great team. Kurt Nimmo, Paul Watson, myself last night, kicking butt until 3, 4 in the morning, kicking rumpus. Jaron was calling me at like 11, 12 at night. He was working on getting the big guest we've got coming up. and boom, we're out front. InfoWars is pretty much down right now. It can't handle 1 million people basically at once. Prison Planet is still up. We're struggling to keep InfoWars up. All the news that's at InfoWars is cloned over at Prison Planet. Get it out, folks, over at prisonplanet.com. Now, let me just go over a smattering of some of the background here of what's happened. Remember, Steve Pachenik, the right-hand man in the State Department of Henry Kissinger, comes out and says he's on ice, he's dead, they're going to roll him out. He says that in April 2002. First place ever reported, ever told, very high-powered. He gets a lot of threats over it, calls me, begging me to remove the transcript. I said, the barn door is open. That horse left a long time ago. That train left the station, buddy. High-level Council on Foreign Relations member. Then a high-level Bush administration individual who lived in Austin between D.C. I'll give you there's a couple dozen of them, but just gave you the source with Pachenik with the transcript on record. That's 9 years and a month old. Then about a year later, White House source, who I run into, just makes the big joke about, we got it all set in the campaign, doesn't matter. We'll just bring Bin Laden out a week or two before the thing. We got him on ice. Yeah, he's dead. And the story's universal from these sources. He was dying of kidney failure, so they just killed him in Pakistan. That's 9 years ago. And people say, well, then how do they have these Marines lie? Well, you're not seeing them on the news. They'll all write books later and be movie stars, and Matt Damon will undoubtedly be playing them, or George Clooney. But you've got in the middle of a city, on the edge of the city, this big giant palace compound, and the thing is blowing up and fire shooting out of it. And they basically just grab some guy with a beard and say that's him, even if they did that. And then to get rid of the body, they immediately, to follow Islamic law, quote, run out and burial at sea so that there can't be a shrine. But don't worry, they've got DNA. They're going to tell you that the results. Really, Houston Crime Lab, San Francisco Crime Lab, FBI Crime Lab. I've had the former head of the crime lab on, Dr. Frederick Whitehurst, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and then last year, breaking down the industrial fraud. It came out in Houston. Tens of thousands of people were framed over a decade under orders. Oh, but the federal government, they'll release some DNA evidence that we can supposedly trust. But let's go even further here. We'll put this article up on screen. It's at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. This was already out last night and ran in hundreds of papers across the world. A photo of Bin Laden, and they put out two different versions for the public and said, this is the photo. Oh, this is it. They knew full well it wasn't the photo, that it had been out for many years as another fake they'd released. We have another article that Osama Bin Laden has been pronounced dead for the 9th time. And then we have links from the Colbert Report, did the research. I knew it was a bunch, but not 9 times. 9 times they killed him. He had 9 lives, this cat did. And they finally, and we have links to all the mainstream news articles in the article at prisonplanet.com. Where you can go read the 9 times they killed him. Which time do you want to believe? Well, this is the finale. I mean, with this big announcement. Before it would just be, yeah, we killed him, but... And so we'll show you that photo. They put out a clearly doctored photo with some gauze and a bandage on his chest and his mouth open and his head all and, blown to bits. And from about 10 o'clock last night until about 7 a.m. this morning, they ran it in newspapers and everywhere saying, there's the dead Bin Laden. And I kept hearing phone calls this morning. It's great. I got to see the photo of that dead rat before they threw him in the ocean. I'm walking a little taller, little spring in my step. The talk show host, we want to hear from our military people that we care so much about. You're flying on an airplane, and the captain goes, we have 2 military people on board. Everybody please give them a round of applause. It's all just part of this. You've got to support the troops, but supporting the troops means supporting whatever the government says, whatever war they launch. But then when they cut their pensions or steal their death benefits or try to make them pay for their own medical care and flush them down the toilet, when they go on food stamps, well, let's not discuss that. That's not patriotic. Or when they die of DU poisoning or they have 4 times as many deformed children, even Life magazine reports, well, then the VA is not going to give you any help. Remember the Marine officer dying in the wheelchair who'd been in such great shape, the Marine Corps captain from the VX nerve gas that got destroyed at Camisea, begging for help before Congress in like 94, saying, I need treatment and crying. Well, that's unpatriotic, him asking for treatment. I just say I support the troops. Thank you so much for your service. I mean, you just see it constantly. And I'm like, oh, really? Well, troops, I'll actually try to make sure you don't use DU and die from it. I'll try to make sure they don't steal your death benefits as they did 11 years ago in a secret deal now public last year. See, it's all just this hollow. Obama's plunging in the approval ratings. The wars are unpopular. The dollar is going into the toilet, circling the tubes. And then magically, on May Day, on International Commie Day, out comes Obama. And you could just look at his body language. We'll play the video later. I mean, he is lying. If a used car salesman was looking at me like that saying, there's no problem with this car, it's not going to throw a rod, and then you start listening and you hear the rod about to be thrown. I mean, it just radiated as he read off that teleprompter, lies and deception and dissembling, and that he could barely, with a straight face, sit there and deliver this propaganda. The Russians, reportedly from a lot of the reporters that got killed for trying to report on it, at that Beslan massacre, people say, well, were there terrorists inside killing the kids? Because they wanted to invade another country. They said terrorists from Chechnya were in there. And it turned out from the witnesses that did survive, they were guys with masks on, and then they started shooting everybody, threw a bomb in, ran out the back, and then the military, this is on record, the Russian troops, let them get away and then blew the whole building up. So there's such a big fog of war and fire and death. Nobody knows where the guys with the mask went. Then you take a couple of the dead bodies of the people in the school, put mask on them, and say, look, we've got the guys that did it. And so it's real simple. It's over in a third world country the globalists control. They rock it and bomb and blow it up, and it's on fire and burning. And the Marines may even think they killed Bin Laden. Because we know the CIA has Bin Laden doubles, too. They love to set up decoys, set up patsies. Kind of like there were 2 or 3 Oswalds running around in Dallas, it was confirmed. Just to confuse everything. And so there's some guy with a turban and a big beard in there, and it's his part to, you know, play along with something, and they kill him deader than a hammer. Who knows what happened? All I know is Steve Pachenik, number 2, under Kissinger at the State Department, comes on and says he's on ice 9 years ago, dead, and they're going to roll him out later when they feel like it. 2 other sources tell me that off record. Madeleine Albright, 3 years after I first break all this down, 2.5 years after I break it down, goes on Fox News and says they've got him on ice, they're going to roll him out, or they're thinking about it, and then the word is they didn't because of all the attention it was getting. That's why the system, that's why when I ran into that head White House, head of media operations guy in the bathroom, he was so angry in Los Angeles. I didn't run into him. I was debating him, about to debate him on TV, and he was in there and really was extremely upset because this stuff had just come out a year before. Because this is their big plan. This is their big program. This is their big operation. Now the guy we've got scheduled to come on record has met and knows Osama Bin Laden. He was called a hero in the 80s fighting the Russians. The head of Pakistani intelligence, former tank commander, and a big veteran of the war with the Indians decades before, General Hamid Gul. And Pakistan is strategic. I will imagine that they're going to want to play along with, oh, yes, you killed him, and we helped you. And that is being reported that the Pakistanis helped in this. Helped in this. And the Pakistanis are going to now say, please leave. And the intel that I was already getting from some sources is they might produce Bin Laden, but I'd heard this so long I ignored it, to perhaps as an entree to start pulling out of Pakistan right at the point the Pakistan government says, get your drones out, get out of here. Now, they may actually use this to expand it. And I'm hearing that call in the media. I heard Senator Graham on TV this morning, driving and listening to television, saying that he shows that Pakistan's duplicitous and basically our enemy. And he tried to talk about al-Qaeda in Libya, why we need to be there to fight al-Qaeda. Went on record, Washington Post, LA Times, they have to admit the core of the, quote, freedom fighters in Libya in the east are al-Qaeda and Taliban. So, folks, they think you're so dumb that they produced a fake Bin Laden photo and gave it to